Alright, what is up, YouTube? Today we're going to be reading June Forenoon, which is, a short story I made about a year ago. Now, it's pretty bad, because I, wrote it a year ago, and, yeah, the characters are pretty bad, and I didn't make many characters, so don't judge me on it, but here we go. Okay, let's get it started. Alright, so I'm just going to keep it like this and read it. Here. So we're going to start the top prologue. A big cantaloupe does eat food, gets home indeed, jumps, kicks, laughs, more needs of pizza, quilts rocks, sitting the umbrella, a very wet xylophone, eats zebras. Adamtron observes that evil has come over the enormous city. Signs say, please do not ascribe ye o'er. What does that mean, he wonders. Why are the men telling funny tales while standing around? Adamtron observes that it's become graciously delightful in the town. The men round town are telling funny stories to brighten up absolutely no one. The air was filled with anger and hate from the incoming army that was coming to their town, Greenville. Which, if you didn't know, Greenville's actually the name of the town that Mr. Beast lives in. I didn't mean to do that or anything. Alright, big. Moses, the Coop Savage, did not want to go to war, but Slimy and Casper, or how he was known, I can't speak, the unfriendly hag, wanted everyone to be ready for an attack, for he was worried greatly. Adamtron did not understand what was going on and what had caused this argument. Moses was his father, and he was the wisest person in town, though he's gone a lot. Him and Slimy always disagreed on ideas on what to do. Most people did not know where this constant disagreement came from, but Adamtron did. His father was rumored to have been responsible for Slimy and Son's apparent demise. Cantaloupe. Swift stood on top of a hill overlooking Greenville from 25 miles away. He was thinking of how long it was since he was there when his second-in-command rushed to him. Swift commanded an army. His second-in-command, Filiac, had great news. Our scouts have reported disagreement in the city. It should be easy to take. Very well, we shall move the army into position tomorrow. After Filiac left, Swift thought to himself quietly while he laid in a bed. I hope you're ready to repay your debts to me, Slime. Now, really quickly before we continue, I just say, I am bad at, speaking and stuff, but, I just wrote this thing's just really hard to follow, so sorry for all my stumbling. Okay. It does. Adamtron was scared, for the tension between his father and Slimy was increasing to dangerous levels. He usually avoided them by going to see his friend Jimothy. I can't stop laughing because of Jimothy. Okay, Jimothy was a peaceful tree lover with a strange craving of eating tree bark. His ancestors were the founder of the town, and his family knew more about the town than anyone else. Adamtron always liked Jimothy telling him stories about the town. Today, when Adamtron went to Jimothy, he acted like it was the end of the world. What's going on, Adamtron said. Jimothy replied, come into my house. We are in danger. No time to explain. Eat. Slimian was furious. He thought him and Moses had a deal that if danger came, they must be ready to defend themselves. But Moses now wanted to go against that. Slimian went home and saw a picture of his son. On the wall, which made him sad. He never knew what the truth of what happened to him was. He seemed all right at home, but then one day he went to Moses' house, but he never came back. No one knew what happened to him. He thought to himself, I wished I had my Swifty back. Food. John Willie was a farmer that lived a happy, peaceful life in the country. He had been a farmer for over 10 years. He had some bad experiences from his past, so he lived in the country to try and forget about that way of life of stealing. Today something was off. He had a dream about something bad happening in Greenville, the town 50 miles from him. He decided to ignore it and continue his life in the country. That night, though, he wondered if he should go and give his past life another try. Okay. Gets. Adamtron rushed quietly into Jimothy's house when Jimothy spoke. Come into my basement. They went down the stairs when, behold, there was a scroll with ancient writing on it. Jimothy said, My parents said I can't show this to anyone but you. It's the fate of what's to come in this town. Let me read it, said Adamtron. It said, and I quote, "The reader of this shall ascribe o'er or fulfill this document's predictions. They shall calm confusions between faults and legacies, unite friends, enemies, and families back together to stand against the thief, and finally bring peace to not only to Greenville itself, but the people who live and have lived there." A nice prophecy. I don't know. Okay, home. Filiak was very happy to see the troops listen to him. Usually they only listen to Swift for orders. This did make him a little uneasy, though. Swift is busy planning out their attack. The troops marched slowly down the hill towards Greenville. Filiak thought to himself about his previous life in Greenville. I had a son there. He probably doesn't remember me, though. He was only 3 when I left. Filiak had a strange dream the night before the son was still in town. And the reason they were attacking Greenville was because Swift had a relation to the place. Also, it showed that other people they didn't know were coming too. He thought that the dream could not be true, for Swift said he would tell all of his secrets to him. Filiak soon forgot about this and went on commanding the army. Indeed to you. John Willie was freaked out. He had another dream that said, if Greenville falls, then so will the people. Over and over it had said this to him. It's just a dream, it can't be true, he thought. But John Willie had followed signs from dreams before. That is how he got to the country. He thought that if listening to the dreams once helped him, maybe he should go follow them again. He debated this for many hours until he decided to leave his beautiful farmland behind and track down his old enemy. It was a June morning. Alright, next page. Jumps. Okay. Sorry for the outside sounds. I can't really control those. Adamtron had fainted and became unconscious after finishing reading the scroll. Jimothy and his family rushed him to Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil, the town's doctor. He was unconscious for... Sorry there. No one's going to even be at this point, but okay. So Dr. Phil's office for the next day. And during that time, Jimothy talked with Adamtron about what they had read and what had happened to him. I just finished reading this, then I felt like I had been hit hard in the head, and then I fainted, said Adamtron. Jimothy thought that this couldn't be true, and Adamtron must not have been fully to his senses yet. He decided to wait until later to talk about the scroll and left the office. Kicks. Pumped up. Okay. Moses was not happy at the sight of Slimy and gathering people to fight. He knew the consequences of fighting, but he couldn't convince the people to take a side. He eventually decided that he was secretly going to leave the town and hope no one noticed him gone. What about Adamtron, he then thought. He thought about what he should do with him when he finally decided he's old enough to know the truth. He doesn't need me anymore. Moses then packed his things, left a one-word note on his bed, and left the town. It was a June morning. Adamtron had left the office after a day. Laughs. Adamtron had left the office after a day. He felt a little bit mad at Jimothy, so he decided to stay away from him for at least a couple hours. Then he would go and discuss the scroll with him. He wandered around town and saw the war preparations happening. This made him start to worry. What if we lose the battle, he thought. After this, he decided to go home because he knew his father would be there. When he got there, however, he was nowhere to be found. All Adamtron found was a note on the bed that said one word: Father. Luke, I am your father. Luke. No, it's actually no, I am your father. That's the Mandela effect. People mess that up. More. Slymian looked out from the watchtower he was in. He could see the army coming towards them. At the rate they're marching out, they'll be here just after morning tomorrow. That sounds like a forenoon to me. He thought, I must get our forces ready. He was about to go prepare his fighting force when he saw a sight that made him turn back around. Is that, he said to himself. He grabbed his binoculars and looked again. It was who he thought he was. That can't be. That's not possible. I must be seeing things. Slymian then left the tower, telling himself that it was not him, even though deep inside he knew it was who he thought he was. Slymian's son was coming to Greenville. Needs. John Willie was in range. He was just outside of Greenville watching the army. Okay, next page. It was a beautiful June evening. Beautiful June evening. He waited for his chance to strike when he saw someone. John Willie waited and saw this was whom he wanted to capture. Seemed so unprotected, though, he thought. But he knew there would be no greater opportunity than this, so he went forward with his plan. Harry ran towards him and threw a net over the person. "What are you doing?" the person screamed. John Willie found it was not the person he hoped for, but instead was a young man. He let him out of the net, apologized, and told him his name. The young man strangely understood why he did that. Then he said, Look, if you're looking for Swift, then we can work together. By the way, my name's Jimothy." I don't know how he trusts him so easily, but whatever. Swift was delighted. His troops were in position to attack, and it was still evening. But he wanted to wait for a morning attack. Comma supposed to be there. He was waiting when he saw two people coming towards him. He thought that he had seen these people before. Swift rushed to the army and commanded they capture the pair. The army moved swiftly and surrounded them. "Why did you come to this place?" he said. The pair was silent. "Were you spying on us?" They were silent again. "Well then, you will be my prisoners and my bargaining tools now." Swift then put them in a cage. When the army was not around, Swift went to the cage and whispered, "It may have taken 10 years to find you again, but I have you now, Swift." Wait, what? Pizza. Yum, yum, yum. Amtron was worried. Yeah, you should be worried. He had ran around the town to tell Jimothy about the note he found. The problem was, he couldn't find him anywhere. He then went to Jimothy's parents' house where they said he went to the store, but he was not at the store either. He looked around town for a long time before finding the gate to the town open. Would they just have a gate and people just leave it, I guess? He must have gone out of town, he thought, but it's dangerous to do that with the army coming. Amtron debated whether to go and search for him or to warn others. He decided to run back to Jimothy's parents' house to tell him what he had discovered. Okay. Quilts. Slimian was preparing for the attack on Greenville. He had his 500 fighters trained, and now he was placing them in position. He looked at the enemy army and saw them surrounding the town. Then he saw Jimothy in a cage. "I must go and tell his parents," he said, but then he thought he must stand ready for attack. He was worried because the force was much larger than his. He decided to fight till the end, and he was thinking this as he looked at the cage Jimothy was in and realized there was someone else in the cage. It was his son. Dun dun dun. Rocks. Rock. Okay, Jimothy and Slimian sat in frustration in the cage. "How do we let them catch us?" Slimian said. The cage was moved along as the army got into position. How do they just have a random cage that it can move? That's funny. They talked to each other while they moved. "Why do he call you Swift?" Jimothy said. John Willie hesitated. But, okay, next page. Then said that Swift had stole his name a long time ago. Jimothy then looked at Swift commanding the army and noticed he looked familiar. He couldn't think much about this because at the time Swift came over to him and said, "You are now to walk up with these soldiers to the wall of the town." I left so many clues in this. They kind of don't even make sense, but it makes sense at the end, though. Alright, sitting. Adamtron rushed to Jimothy's parents' house. He told them what he had found, and they together went to the wall of the town. They looked out and saw Adamtron's predictions were correct. They saw Jimothy being taken towards them with another person. The soldiers holding them said, "Surrender the town," and these two go free unharmed. It was at this moment that they knew now where multiple things all happened at the same time. Jimothy's dad shot the soldiers holding Jimothy with a crossbow. Jimothy and John Willie ran free into town, and Swift, seeing the soldiers fall, launched the attack on Greenville. The battle had begun. Slimian ran away. He had given up on his soldiers and his chances of winning. Well, that's quick. They all ran away at the sound of the army rushing the walls of the town. Hey, you shouldn't rush, kids. He was running when Jimothy, John Willie, and Adamtron encountered him. "Come in this house with us," they said. "We have a plan to stop this." Adamtron got the prophecy and the note from his dad. "We need to solve this mystery," Adamtron said, looking at the prophecy. "Do any of you guys have legacy questions we can solve now? Or is anyone a thief?" Slimian, who they least expected to participate in this, said, "I do. This here John Willie guy, he is my son Swift." So many plot twists in this, honestly. Umbrella. Swift saw that the battle was going well. He knew Greenville would be his shortly. There was one thing worrying him, though. Filiac had disappeared as soon as the battle started. He thought he had ran into the town, but he was not sure. He forgot about this for a while and then went on commanding the army. As the army approached the town gate, though, Swift remembered about Filiac and also about the other Swift who escaped. He used to be my slave, and I took him from his family. I also stole his name. We already know, no dip. Then the army knocked down the gate, and Swift and the army entered the town. Adamtron was confused. He thought that Slimy's son was dead, but here he was. He now started to see the similarities between them that he had not seen before. After getting used to this, they started to formulate a plan to defeat Swift. For they had heard that he had entered the town. I have one, said Adamtron. All I need is some cardboard cutouts. After they agreed on the plan that might work, they prepared to put it in action. As they were about to leave the house, though, Filiac ran inside. Okay. And the final page. Okay. Okay. Wait till this car passes. Okay. Everyone jumped on him and began to beat him and demand answers from him when he sputtered out, I am against Swift now, Adamtron. They all stopped and Adamtron asked, why should we believe you? And how do you know my name? Filiac waited for a moment and then said, well, you are my son. Well, you are my son. Adamtron was even more confused now. How? He said. Filiac explained when he was countered by Swift a long time ago and he forced him to abandon Adamtron in Greenville. Somehow Adamtron knew that this was true, so after hearing this, he left the house with all of them to carry out their plan to defeat Swift. Swift was walking towards the center of the town. On the way, his troops burned down anything in sight. He was thinking about what he would do with town and how his plan had worked. I had them all fooled, them not knowing the enemy was right in front of them the whole time. He laughed in a creepy way. I shall make the survivors my slaves, building my own fortress here. He was thinking thoughts like this almost as if he were insane. But then he saw someone walking towards him wanting to talk. He ordered his troops to be ready if this person was to make any wrong moves. 100 feet forward, Adamtron walked nervously towards him, not because of the army, but because Swift was his fake father, Moses. So many plot twists, honestly. Okay, Yeats. Adamtron knew it was all down to this. He had to protect the people of Greenville. He approached Swift and said, we surrender if you leave us unharmed. Swift laughed and said, no, son. I will burn this town, make you my slaves, and build a fortress here. That's some hard feelings. Adamtron responded, fine, then suffer the consequences. At once, the army was surrounded by 1,000 soldiers ready to fight them. Swift was scared immediately. No, don't kill us, no. Adamtron responded, fine, we will leave you unharmed if you leave now and never come back. Swift and his army ran out of the town as fast as they could. Yay! Zebras. After they left, Adamtron's friends emerged from the cardboard cutouts of the soldiers. I'm surprised they fell for that, said John Willie. Then the whole town swarmed Adamtron and carried him to a bar to celebrate. Well, I guess he's 21, I don't know. I thought he was a child, I guess, but whatever. In the bar, they had a good time when they talked. How did you get all those cutouts, said Adamtron. I just found them lying in my basement with all the other stuff, replied Jimothy. It was like it was there for this reason. They laughed and had a good time together. After they were done celebrating, John Willie said he was going to stay and live in Greenville. Also, Adamtron was going to live with his father, Filiac. Well, see, then he is a child if he's living with his father, right? Unless he's like 25 or something, living with his parents. For the next 20 years, they all lived peacefully in Greenville together. That is, for 20 years. It was a June forenoon. Alright, so that's all for this book, June forenoon. So I hope you enjoyed it. Now, this was all done in one take. There's like literally no editing, so I just sat here for 20 minutes reading this. So please drop a like and subscribe if you aren't. And, yep. Thanks for watching.